Hello, fellow Voyagers. Jess here with Odyssey Human, here today to talk about how to harness your natural psychic ability. This will make you a better manifester, and it's a lot of fun. So welcome to the channel. This is Odyssey Human, the place where we explore the outer reaches of human consciousness and experience so that you can know yourself as a master manifester, get what you want, and love your experience. If that sounds good to you, go ahead and subscribe. We'd love to have you. And I think the manifesting community doesn't tap into topics like this enough about extended human capabilities. Because if we're already talking about consciousness, why not talk about consciousness in all of its flavors? So I was thinking today we would dive into this, the difference between manifesting and psychic ability, and then how to tap into your own natural psychic abilities. Because everyone is psychic, just like everyone is a manifester. The mechanism is the same, but the narrative is different. So what is the mechanism? In manifesting, one of the core premises, what I talk about on my channel is that everything is you. Everything you ever experience is streaming through you, just like in a dream at night. When you wake up from a dream, you're like, oh, that was all generated inside of my own awareness. Right? It was projecting out this crazy, this imaginary world, and same thing with 3D reality, right? We are based on the meaning that we give things and our attention to things. We bring things into form with our attention, our focus, the story we're telling, and then it imprints upon our subconscious, and our subconscious projects it out into what looks like out there in the 3D world. Same process. The story, however, with psychic ability is that, oh, I have this information comes to me and then it comes true, right? And so the power is, in that narrative, the power is entirely outside of us, right? The information is outside of us. It's somehow we're accessing it, and then we see evidence of it in 3D reality. With manifesting, the power is entirely inside of us. We know and are aware that reality is streaming through us. And then we intentionally put thoughts, images, visualizations, affirmations into the mix, impress our own subconscious, and then watch those things be created in our outside reality, which is really us. So the difference is, where's the power lie? Where do we give the power? And I don't know why we always think that things are more powerful when they're outside of us, right? That we're these small players. However, I think that people have natural psychic ability, and it will make you a better manifester. As you strengthen, your consciousness in different ways, your awareness, you're actually expanding your awareness, right? The power, that's not a great way to say to strengthen, but the power is there regardless. You're already a master manifester. Check out that video. Your capacity to use all of that power and awareness is always there. And so developing one area of your consciousness is going to affect all of your consciousness, right? Because it's all connected. It's all contained within your awareness. So everybody gets intuitive hits. Let's start there. This is how and why I think everyone is naturally psychic. The average human has a lot of thoughts a day. Studies a few years ago said that it was 60 to 70,000 thoughts. More recent studies in the last couple of years said it was only about 6,000 to 8,000 thoughts. It doesn't really matter the volume. It's a lot of thoughts. We have a lot of thoughts. What one of the original studies found was that 80% of those thoughts are negative, typically. So, and then 95% of those thoughts were repetitive. They're the same repetitive thoughts that we always think. And so in there, what does that mean? What do these numbers mean? That means in 5% of those thoughts are actually fresh, new, something different. And unless we're consciously thinking those thoughts, they seem to just be popping into our head, right? This is why I think everybody gets hit. They have new thoughts pop into their head. 5% of those thoughts, of the thoughts they have a day, are new, fresh thoughts, right? And so how do we leverage those thoughts and then put them into the field and start to build a feedback loop? Because believing that you're psychic comes from strengthening a feedback loop. And what is that feedback loop? It's that when you experience that 5% of new thought that seems to just randomly pop into your head, you start to see it as an intuitive hit as opposed to just random information, right? Because every thought that we think is both true and not true. It's simultaneously true and not true. What brings truth to it? The story we're telling and the attention that we're giving it, right? It's just like Schrodinger's cat. Schrodinger's cat exists in a state of being dead and alive at the same time. And through observer effect, through opening the box and looking inside to see if the cat is alive or dead, we bring truth to that potential, right? So when I say the cat is both alive and dead, it's existing in a state of potential. Same thing with those thoughts. So what we want to do is start making them true. And as we see them as true, we're going to start, our subconscious mind is like, oh, this is intuitive information. This is true somewhere. We then generate the evidence in the 3D of that being true. And then we build our own belief to, oh, wow, I am psychic. Oh my gosh, this is like the easiest way to manifest ever. So we start to build this feedback loop, and then we're going to have more thoughts, because seeing those thoughts as naturally as they are, so we're changing the story. It's intuitive information that you're receiving. It's not just a random thought. It's that 5% is intuitive information, right? It's new thoughts. It's a new opportunity to, they're new realities, right? Each of those thoughts is, that 5%, that freshness that's coming into the thought stream are new realities and that we're offering to ourselves. And so seeing that data as intuitive information, we're changing our story to that instead of just seeing it as random thoughts. And then building those feedback loops of like, noticing the thought, being like, yeah, just kind of acknowledging it, knowing that it's intuitive data. And then the evidence will start presenting itself to you in 3D reality. You're going to start to see then the manifestations of that, because you're not with thoughts that come. This is my experience, because I have been intuitive my entire life in all of its forms. And what I've experienced is when they seem to arise from within us kind of organically, and we're just like, and we acknowledge it and kind of observe it, and we're like, yeah, that's, you kind of say yes to it, you give it that little consent, it often will manifest very quickly, because there's no resistance, because it wasn't something we've been working on a long time, a goal that we really want, we're super attached, we just kind of are like, yes, we automatically give it that little bit of consent. And then those feedback loops build very, very quickly, right? And so we changing the story about it, and then the attention we're giving to it. We're not just brushing them off as thoughts that, oh, it's just a thought, whatever. Usually there's when we have a new thought, there's then that internal narration that happens of we're either yes, acknowledging it, or no, resisting it, fighting it. And so what happens if we have an intuitive hit we don't like, something that's like, ooh, I don't like that, the feeling of that. We go back to the potential, right? Everything is simultaneously true and not true. And that's where we kind of dismiss it as a thought. And we're like, oh, it's just a thought, and we don't put any meaning to it. We don't give it any attention. What I call, we swipe left on it. I made a video about this. It's very controversial. Check that out. I'll link it above. We swipe left on it. We're just like, And so the ones that we do like, or are neutral about, or are like, that's interesting, then will gain traction, be manifested. And so, yeah, after a while of building those feedback loops, you're going to wow, your belief in your own psychic ability is going to skyrocket. This is kind of what happened to me. I think this is how the natural path of most people who are psychic, claim to be psychic, know they're psychic, think they're psychic. This is kind of the natural feedback loops that happen with them, but you can build them intentionally, consciously. And it's kind of a fun way to manifest and prove to yourself, build your belief in general in manifesting. Yeah. And then, just don't talk yourself out of it. So what are the 2 steps again? When you get the new thought, you're going to get new thoughts every day, 5% of them. When you get them and you're like, yes, I agree to this. You give it this little bit of consent. You acknowledge it as intuitive information, and then you just kind of let it go. And you're going to start seeing evidence of it. If it's an intuitive hit you don't like, you swipe left. You just don't do anything with it. You don't give it any meaning. You don't give it any, you don't identify with it. And then you watch the evidence in 3D reality, and you build the muscle, and you build your own belief in your natural psychic ability. So have fun with this. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment below. I'd love to interact with you and engage. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.